Mason, the Falcons, I mean, like I said, 49ers, they're up here. Falcons are down there. But, like, the 49ers, you got to look at them, then they're a playoff team. And, of course, like you said, the Falcons are not. Either way, I just don't know what the Falcons, what they thought they were going to get out of whatever trade.
I don't know what the plan is for the future, and it'll be interesting to see in the coming months. With the draft coming up and free agency already in full swing, what they're really going to do with this free cap space.
Yeah.
And the freedom really to, I don't know, they have the freedom right now to go out and it doesn't matter. There's no expectations. You don't have a quarterback. They can sign whoever they want to pretty much and at least give it a shot and see what's going on. I don't know. At some point, the Falcons are going to have to decide, do they think they can win with Marcus Mariota or is this a rebuild?
Yeah.
Because
probably rebuild,
I don't see it ending up anywhere else. I don't see Marcus Mariota being the long-term solution by any means.
Yeah, at any place. But either way, Calvin Ridley got suspended. But then with the Falcons, you just got to look. I mean, like I said, the Saints are, the 49ers, yeah, they're good. And we all know. But either way, here's what the Falcons could have did. The Falcons, over the last few years, the Falcons could have been the worst team of football. They could have went 0-17 and not go 5 and whatever. But then the next thing you know, you win your last 3-4
games and there you are at the 10th pick rather than the second or third.
And it's just like we could have got Joe Burrow. And look at him, he's with the Bengals, and look at what he did. Get him, and then get a Jamar Chase right receiver. I mean, even though that's the Bengals, because at first, like I said, if you asked me if the Bengals were a team, I would have been like,
no way.
I would have been like, yeah, H to the no. But either way, now the Bengals are good, and then they just came out of it. They just came from a Super Bowl. I mean, they lost. Yeah, they lost. But the only thing the Bengals need is
a tight end left.
And then they need a few linemen to protect Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, they definitely need that.
Yeah. But either way, like I said, it's just that the Falcons they don't. I mean, the only thing bright spot I see is a kicker, Young Way Koo.
Yeah.
I don't really see
Kyle Pitts is pretty good.
Yeah, and I see potential in him now that Calvin Ridley's gone.
Are they going to keep Cordell Patterson?
I think they were going to keep him. And
I think he's a pretty good addition. Whether you're going to use him as a running back, receiver, I think every team in the NFL can find a spot on the field for him. He's proven year after year he's really a valuable piece to have on the team.
Oh yeah, because he's one like the run the breast return. He reminds me of Devin Hester and Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's Mr. Do-It-All. Patterson's kind of Mr. Do-It-All.
He is for sure. He don't play quarterback, but he'll play anything else.
Oh yeah, and he's a big dude too. I mean, he'll run you over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't steer away from contact.
But like I just said, the Falcons, I don't know what's gonna go on with them. But
on the other side, do you think the Colts can really contend for a Super Bowl now?
Well, yeah, because they got the defense.
They had the whole package before, but now that they got Matt Ryan's been there before. Carson Wentz has played on a Super Bowl winning team, but like you said earlier, he was hurt.
Yeah.
So now that they have Matt Ryan, I believe that really could. Yeah. I don't think they'll go out in the wild card this year. I don't think they'll be the first round. It'll probably be the AFC Championship or. I just still don't see them making the Super Bowl and winning it all. Yeah, but I think they will be improved.
Oh yeah, and then with the Colts, they got one of the best best linemen, linebacker, whatever you want to call him, Darius Leonard. He's a freak. They call him a freak because he can hit you in many different ways. He can intercept the ball. He's a big dude, pretty big dude too. But either way, and then they got a good running game in Jonathan Taylor, looking like an MVP, looking like the next Derrick Henry, trying to rush for 2,000 yards. Got him.
He was a tank in college, and it just translated right to the NFL.
Yeah, and then you got Micah Pittman, whatever the wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton, and a few wide receivers. So they got everything. You got lineman Quentin Nelson.
Got everything. Like Cordell Patterson, T.Y. Hilton's one of those guys that can kind of do it all too. He's a little smaller than Cordell, but he's been a valuable piece for the Colts, for years now, and they know how to really use him. Hopefully, Matt Ryan and him will get a lot of chemistry and get linked up together.
Oh yeah, because they definitely because the Colts,
without Matt Ryan and T.Y. Hilton having success together, the Colts can't have success at all.
they can have a successful Carson Wentz. But either way, Andrew Luck, he was a quarterback, but of course he retired. And then you had Phillip Rivers, he was on there for 1 year, but he did pretty good. And so I feel like the Colts, I think they'll still.
I think Matt Ryan is probably a little better than both Carson Wentz and Phillip Rivers, but Phillip Rivers, he did it for a long time. It'd be hard to say until we really see if the Colts will actually be that much better than they have been the past 2 years.
Oh yeah, but they've been pretty good, and I feel like they'll just
only
the
time
Colts.
will
I feel like they might have a few games on their start, but then I feel like they'll be like a team. They'll start to figure out the rhythm like how Matthew Stafford did with the Rams, and I think the Colts have a pretty good chance of it.
I think Matt Ryan at least ought to offer them, like Phillip Rivers did, a better leadership edge and a better. He's been there, he's done that, and he's proven that he's capable of winning an MVP and a Super Bowl. I mean, the Falcons didn't win, but we saw what happened. I mean, they had it. Matt Ryan was fully capable of winning that game until they gave it away.
Yeah, and then with the Colts, I think I'll just like I said, I don't know. I was about to say something, but I done forgot. Anyway, like I said, I think they'll do pretty good, and they'll be okay. It's just that, they'll be pretty good. So next up, I wanted to get into, Von Miller. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He was a defensive MVP in the Super Bowl. I think, the Bills got him.
He's probably one of the top 5 defensive players in the NFL for sure. I mean, he's a valuable player every year. He's always, I don't know, man. He's just going to cause offense problems. It's hard to block him. He's so long, and I don't know. What do you think about him going to Buffalo?
I think, Buffalo, I feel like with them already having Tre'Davious White as their cornerback, you have that Ed Oliver dude that came from Houston.
And they also have Jordan Poyer at safety. Yeah. He's a good safety.
Yeah. And then you got a great quarterback in Josh Allen.
He's arguably, I don't know, it'd be hard to prove, don't get me wrong, but I think you could argue he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. I mean, he's gone out there, and last year he showed he could put up the numbers, but he also could compete in clutch moments, and they nearly had the Chiefs. I mean, they should have had the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I feel like with Von Miller, that just makes the Bills look a whole much more contender.
I don't see how the Bills don't get to the Super Bowl next year.
Because if they make it happen where they go to the AFC Championship, or if they play the Chiefs and lose again, they're just a disappointment. And you see why the Patriots were more of a dynasty than y'all will ever be.
You think the Patriots will be able to beat out the Bills in the division now that Mac Jones is stepping up?
I feel
if they get a few more players, to help them out, and this year they'll get a lot of players, their defensive side back.
Yeah, I feel like they will, but I just feel like the Bills, they just
Von Miller really takes them over the top, and it's still, the gap was kind of closing with Mac Jones becoming better and better, but with Von Miller, Buffalo spreads further back apart from New England. You think?
Oh yeah. And like I said, the Patriots, they just need. They gonna need a Tom Brady. They just need somebody else who can do it. They might need a veteran quarterback. That can. And I felt like if they would have a quarterback, from somewhere, whatever. I felt like if Patriots, if they would have got Deshaun Watson, and as that's gonna be on one of our next topics, I felt like they would be pretty good. I feel like they could still probably beat the Bills out and probably make it to the Super Bowl, but
Mac Jones just ain't quite ready yet.
Yeah, he's developing, just getting into the.
You still think he needs another season under his belt before they can potentially catch the Bills?
Oh yeah, he probably gonna need like 2 or 3, maybe a year, and then a year after that, I think that'll be pretty good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and next up, I'm gonna get into it's so many players getting traded. You get Russell Wilson to Denver. And then you get Devonta to Las Vegas, and then you get Khalil Mack to the Chargers, and then the Chiefs.
It seems like this has been one of the crazier years in the NFL offseason. I don't remember a year in particular where this many major, impactful players were getting moved around like this. Do you?
No, and then not the only thing, but the thing is, they all go to the AFC West. You don't know who to predict.
No.
The Chiefs, they'll probably likely.
They should probably still be the favorite.
Yeah. But then you got Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Justin Herbert, Khalil Mack, the Chargers, Joey Bosa.
Those two. Both of those are Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion. I think they have the offense and the defense to play, especially the Chargers now that they have Joey Bosa on one side and put Khalil Mack on the other side. That's going to be deadly right there.
Oh, yeah, like I said, that's going to be the lightning bolt defense because, they're caught the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, but
they're going to be lightning quick on the edge, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just because some players might be 30-something, that don't mean they can still push a young offensive guy around and just do what they got to do, like they do, just sack the quarterback and hurt him, whatever they want to do to it.
What do you think in that division, keeping in that division, Devonta Adams at the Raiders, do you think he makes the Raiders that much better? Do you think that they could be a contender now?
Yeah, I feel like they could because, Henry Ruggs, he was supposed to be that. But then, the stuff with him driving and the incident, and now he's charged with felony and all that stuff. I don't know, but
he's potentially looking at losing his career.
Oh, yeah.
It's long gone, pretty much. So now that they had to replace him, you think Devonta Adams, he's better than Henry Ruggs, proven-wise. Henry had a lot of potential, don't get me wrong, but I think that Derrick Carr really,
he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He have those, like I said, it's just that the Raiders, I don't think they start off good, but they don't know how to finish well.
Did you know that Devonta Adams and Derrick Carr played together in Fresno State in college?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought Devonta at one time played for UAB.
No, I'm not sure if he went there every year, but he went to Fresno State. Him and Derrick Carr won their conference their senior year, so they already have chemistry together. So it really may be what Derrick Carr needs to put him on the same level as potentially Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. And, maybe it gives the Raiders a chance to really take the next step.
And then with the Broncos, with them having Russell Wilson, the AFC West is just loaded. This is loaded with a bunch of talent, and it's going to be hard to predict who comes out.
You could almost say that the four best teams in the AFC are in that one division. Yeah.
Make it to the playoffs. Yeah. So next up, I want to give to Deshaun Watson. He went to Cleveland and all that stuff with the win.
After a hectic week.
Yeah.
We got our hopes up.
I don't know if he got Cleveland's hopes up because Cleveland, they haven't done nothing. Like I said, and I've said this a million of times. Cleveland is not a good football team.
No, they never. I remember them going to the playoffs one time in my life and winning one playoff game.
And that was
that was when Baker Mayfield, I think, was his second year. They beat the Steelers in the wild card game.
Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, because it happened because they beat the Steelers. A few years, 2 years ago. I think they played in 2003, but I also said they had a huge lead. They blew it, lost to the Steelers by 1 point. Then I think last time they didn't their last playoff win was in 1994, if I'm not mistaken. They went to the AFC Championship, as somewhere in 1988, 89, 87 or 88 when because famous John Elway. They have the fumble and the drive. Those are the two famous games, whatever. So, and then, they really haven't had a great running back since Jim Brown in 1964, because they had one or two, like I said.
This says enough about the Browns right here. I can name at least 5 quarterbacks they've drafted in the first round, in my lifetime. And that's just...
That just shows you.
Do you think Deshaun is going to be the answer to the... they're always looking for a quarterback. Baker Mayfield's been the closest thing to a real quarterback they've ever really had in my life.
Because it's been so long. They can't... every quarterback, they keep you for 1 year, they go, and even with the coaches, they keep them for a year or two maybe, and they go. And I'm just look, I understand, you want to win, you want to be in win now mode. You've really been in loss mode for the past 30 years. You ain't been on none of your games.
Been in lost mode.
I don't know, whatever. They ain't been on their A game. They been on their F game.
They ought to just permanently tank.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I said y'all just heard me. I said F game. I don't mean it like that. But you have an F in the class. You're horrible, but you have an A in the class. So yeah, they been on. They just haven't done nothing.
Nope, not a lick. So is Deshaun the answer?
Deshaun Watson is a good quarterback. he went with. I mean, he was good at Houston, even though Houston's one of the worst programs too. I mean, not programs.
He led them to a playoff win. He has one win under his belt in a handful of seasons.
It's not him. The problem is you shouldn't never got rid of DeAndre Hopkins, your number one wide receiver, who y'all claim to be.
Does it make you nervous him going to Cleveland?
Yeah, because Cleveland is not good. They ain't good nowhere.
Does it make you more nervous for him after seeing the dysfunction in Cleveland in the past with coaches and now with Baker Mayfield and even earlier this season with Odell Beckham Jr.? I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. showed that in the Super Bowl he's a good player. He's a capable player. He's still with the Rams a Pro Bowl level player. Yeah. Why didn't it work out with the Browns? Surely he could have played receiver. I mean, I just think there's a lot more than. I know Baker Mayfield was hurt, and Baker Mayfield's not the best quarterback in the world. But I think there's a lot deeper problems in Cleveland than just the quarterback. I think they have a play calling problem, a coaching problem, a culture. Yeah,
they curse.
I don't. I like Deshaun Watson. I think he's definitely a MVP caliber candidate, but I don't know that even he can fix the problems in Cleveland. Do you feel that way, or do you think he's that good? I mean, Joe Burrow, a lot of people said surely he can't even fix Cincinnati, but even in 2 years, there he is. Can Deshaun do that?
I feel like, honestly, if you'd ask me, I would say no, and no. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because the Baltimore Ravens got Lamar Jackson. They got him. I mean, they got a good, okay defense. The
Pittsburgh Steelers, they're historically one of the best franchises. They're in their division as well.
Yeah, T.J. Watt's a beast.
All right, and then you've also got, like we said, Joe Burrow in that division. So with the problems Cleveland has outside of quarterback and him going to, a stacked division essentially. They have 3 MVP candidate quarterbacks in that division. Not quarterbacks, but a good franchise in the Steelers and 2 MVP candidate quarterbacks. And Steelers are going to be looking to upgrade in the coming years at quarterback. Yeah, he flopped in Chicago, but he also played at Chicago Bears, and you've seen how they looked at quarterback this year, even with a player as talented as Justin Fields and a player that was Andy Dalton, hasn't had the best career, but he was a 10-year starter in Cincinnati. So, that says something about him, and even he struggled. So maybe it was just the Bears. Maybe Mitchell Trubisky does have some upside,
And the Bears, they're known for their defense. They're known for Brian Urlacher, Mike Singletary, whoever. William Perry, as offensive dude, the big man that scored touchdowns.
Now Roquan Smith.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget about him, yeah. And then you got, they're just known for their defense. Bears really have never been known for a quarterback, ever. They might have had one quarterback, the otherwise, and that the Bears have always been on.
Speaking of defense, real quick, you brought this to my mind. Did you see where Lorenzo Carter ended up? Yeah. The former Bulldog ended up on the Falcons. That's exciting right there.
He was the one who blocked that kick when they played Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and I wish the Falcons would do more of that this year, especially if we're gonna, not be as good. We might as well just be homegrown, sell some tickets, and not tank essentially, but if a player is good enough to contribute to the Falcons and they're homegrown, maybe we should take a little extra incentive and get some players together for once.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Falcons need that.
They need all the help they can get.
Yeah, they need everything. They got the kicker, but like I said, Kyle Pitts, but otherwise than that, it's a whole complete mess there. And then it's only getting, Georgia, they came off a national championship, beat Alabama 33-18. Do you think they can repeat?
Yes and no.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Or
I say yes. They certainly have the talent and the coaching on paper to win it all, and I think that they potentially could win it all. But I also say no in the sense of it's going to take the right players in the right places stepping up, because Georgia has lost. They haven't lost everything, don't get me wrong. You return your quarterback, you return a handful of linemen, you return not 2 starting running backs, but 2 contributing running backs, a handful of receivers. But losing the players on defense you did, the speed, even at the combine, how well they all performed, that speed is irreplaceable.
Oh, yeah.
And so unless the players step up in other ways and somebody replaces a guy like George Pickens, who I believe was one of the best players I've ever seen in Georgia. I think he was maybe second to only A.J. Green as receivers in Georgia in my lifetime. So I think Georgia's going to have a hard time repeating because, I mean, we all know Stetson Bennett's good and he's a capable quarterback, but he's certainly not going to win the game like, per se, Baker Mayfield did when he was in college, or Lamar Jackson did. Just put the team on his shoulders and throw it 50 times and 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's certainly not going to do that. So, like it took last year, Georgia had to be well-rounded and step up together. It's going to take that again this year, and I think that's hard to do two times in a row. What do you think?
I think it is, because Jordan Davis is leaving. The big man, he leaving.
That's the heart of the defense right there. Those two.
Yeah, he anchors that defense. Not like Vanderbilt, but he anchors that defense. But either way, I mean, I feel like Georgia could, because if you look at Georgia's schedule, who they're playing,
they don't play anybody.
Yeah, they really don't play anybody. Even the SEC teams that they do play. It's not like they play at Alabama, Texas A&M,
I think our
Ole Miss. They gotta play Borno, Kentucky,
and Mississippi
State,
Tennessee.
Play all them teams.
The only 2 teams from the West you got to play is Auburn, who is down right now with all the drama going on in their program, and Mississippi State. And Mississippi State is on the road. They have a returning quarterback and a good coach.
Really good.
So it's going to be one of the toughest games Georgia has for sure. But as far as that's the toughest game is the season, that says your season's not very tough. So I think that they'll definitely have opportunity.
Yeah, like I said, even teams that are in the SEC and they say the SEC is good. I mean, yeah, the SEC is a good conference to be in, but I'm just like, but okay, if you look at the SEC East, like I said, it's in Georgia, Florida maybe, but not really. I mean,
No, not really. It's maybe, but not really. I think you hit nail on the head with that statement right there. I mean, maybe in their dreams, but not really. I don't see it happening. Kentucky will be improved for sure. They return Will Levis, their quarterback. He's pretty decent. But I mean,
he's good, but it's just that when you play Georgia, Alabama, are you gonna lose 63-3 against Alabama?
I don't think Kentucky's good enough to beat Georgia.
13.
Yeah. What about Tennessee?
Tennessee. I mean, if you look at Tennessee, I mean, they lost to Florida at the beginning, and all that stuff.
They were struggling, but as the year went on, by the time Georgia went and played them, their offense had really been in a groove, and
they did pretty good.
You think they got a chance to beat Georgia in the East?
Nah, nobody really. In the East, like I said, in the East, it's Georgia representing everybody else.
You think?
Yeah.
Do you think with South Carolina, with Spencer Rattler coming in?
Oh, no. Like, you lose 40-13. South Carolina lost 40-13. Yeah, they beat them 2 years ago. But either way.
You don't think Spencer Rattler makes a difference?
Spencer Rattler ain't that good at Oklahoma.
Oh, boy. You just wait and see. He was okay for sure.
But he got beat.
Look, he had a lot of pressure on him coming into the year. He was supposed to be the number 1 pick in the draft, the Heisman front runner. And they also had a freshman in Caleb Williams on his heels that everybody else wanted to play. And so do you think that Oklahoma would have been that much worse with Spencer than they would have been with Caleb? Do you think they would end up losing 4 or 5 games, or they still would have lost the same amount?
I mean, I felt like Caleb did, or he kind of represented. I mean, he did really good with Oklahoma over his last few games. 8 games, and I felt like Spencer Rattler, he struggled, yeah, because
I think he's going to surprise some folks this year because he struggled so bad last year, and everybody I think has wrote him off as a kind of a not good player, and I think he really, with no pressure on him this year at a program like South Carolina and a coach like Shane Beamer that he's been with at Oklahoma, that was the tight ends coach there, and now he knows him again at South Carolina. I think he has the potential. Not really to beat Georgia and contend for the SEC East or a national championship, but I think he definitely has a chance to boost his stock and be a maybe not a first round pick, but a first or second day.
Yeah, but then when you go into South Carolina Carolina has not been good.
No, never.
And they've been in a rebuilding stage. The only time South Carolina was good is when they had Devonta and Steve Spurrier and all that
And
stuff.
they still only won, I believe, 10 or 11 games.
They beat Clemson 5 straight times. Have they done that now?
No.
They lost to Clemson 7, 8 straight times.
I can't remember. Other than beating Georgia, that's about the best thing South Carolina's done in their history.
Yeah, beating Alabama, of course, in 2010, but the thing is, that was 12 years ago.
When you say that, do you remember when you were probably a young boy? Do you remember when South Carolina made the SEC championship game? You might when I tell you who they played.
I know they played Auburn.
They played Auburn and they
lost
to Cam Newton.
56-17.
But that was the team you were talking about was so good. That was a good team, but even then they couldn't hang with the big guys.
They couldn't, and they definitely ain't hang now. I mean, they just horrible. I don't think South Carolina gonna do much. I feel like if they could have a 7-8 win game. I feel like for South Carolina to really be a team, you gotta beat Georgia.
I mean, everybody in the East has got to beat Georgia if they want to. Georgia's the last 5 years has just dominated the SEC.
Oh yeah, they have. And so next up, I feel like if you look at Georgia, the only probably team that's gonna be in their way is Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because Michigan proved
Alabama's gonna be back full strength though.
Oh yeah, Michigan proved that they couldn't beat them. I mean, everybody proved that nobody can really beat Georgia except for Alabama.
I think Georgia and Alabama proved this year that they're just truly on
a
level above
the SEC.
Yeah, they're just a level above everybody.
Yeah. Last player I do before we got, I want to get into Julio. As you know, he got released by the Titans. He was a good receiver for the Falcons. He's been one of the best. He's not like maybe the greatest, but he's definitely in the top 10.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a great player. And he was a staple piece like Matt Ryan for the Falcons for a long time. I always liked him a lot. Pulled him for the Falcons.
But as you know, he's not really the same dude, so he might as well just go ahead and call it a career. He's been there for 10 years. Yeah, he might have wanted to get to the Super Bowl, but
you think it's time for him to hang it up?
Well, I feel like they really see, because he gets hurt still. I feel like he can still be, but it's just that he got to perform a little bit better.
I would like to see him go to somewhere and do a role kind of like Antonio Brown did with the Buccaneers, somewhere where he's not the number one guy, where something like that, where he could rely on his other guys. And you were saying he's older, he's had injury problems. Like, how the Chiefs, they use Mecole Hardman, they work him in the rotation, and something like that, where he doesn't have to be on the field every time, but when you want him on the field, Julio Jones is always good to have on the field. I wish he would look to go somewhere like that or come home to the Falcons. I mean, I'd love to have him back in Atlanta, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, for him, I hope he'd win a Super Bowl like you were saying. I'd like to see him do something like that.
Yeah, because I feel like, with the Chiefs, every player, even you guys, that got, like Le'Veon Bell, he didn't play long, but he kind of did pretty okay before he got released. And then, the Chiefs, it seemed like all their players seemed to be making magical plays. They didn't play the game for a long time, but they just seemed to
maybe
play.
Maybe he could go somewhere with like a more unconventional offense, like Baltimore, where it wasn't pass first all the time, and he just didn't keep the ball in his hands, or the Titans didn't work out, and I don't know why it didn't work out. It seems like surely the Titans could have found a way to use him they were run first team. They had A.J. Brown, so he wasn't the primary guy. I don't know. I just can't I don't know why it didn't work out in Tennessee.
But hey, like you said, they probably thought, okay, this is something different when they play in the game, and it just never works out. It seems like for these dudes no more. Anyway, I hope Julio, if he does, he goes to a home final win and can try to at least win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, I hope so, too.
All right. So that's about it. So who did you want to get to shout out to before we go?
I like to give a shout out to, first of all, you for having me on. I really do appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this for a while. And
me too.
I'm glad that we finally got to sit down and have a conversation for a little bit. And I guess I'd also like to shout out my girlfriend, Allie, and my sister, and my mama and daddy, and tell them all I said hey, and I love them. And I hope they enjoy this video because I know they'll all tune in.
Oh yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to everybody else, as y'all know as I do. My subscribers, of course.
Can't forget about them, you know. Well, for them, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, you, my family, my friends, support, and everything else, coaches, just everybody who's good to me.
It's been a good journey to get to here.
Oh yeah,
it's been a
long
bunch of episodes, and finally we got to sit down. And I really have enjoyed it.
Yeah, but like you say, it's a process. It takes time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got to work at that craft, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do. Be hard.
Anything you this good at, you got to work at. Devin. You all know that.
I got you. All right. Well, good night, y'all.
See y'all. Thank you.